It's the CP Show. The CP Show. It's the CP Show. Welcome to the CP Show. Welcome to the CP Show.
And there it is, CP Show. Says it right there. I'm CP. Welcome to the show. This is episode number one. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the show's going to go. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm probably going to tell you what it's not. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey to this place in podcast world. Now, as a podcaster, my journey hasn't started. I'm a fucking zero. Nobody's ever heard of me. But how I got to where I am in terms of what I listen to, what my rotation is, what, all those things, I think it's an interesting thing to talk about because, holy shit, I thought I was locking that and instead I unlocked it. I went from radio, I'm radio guy, but there was a time where radio started turning into talk radio, and it's pretty cool. I was an O&A guy. I never listened to Stern. The only thing I knew about Stern was the movie, which was awesome. But O&A was my thing. I discovered O&A 2006, 2007 when they were doing the walkover. I'll talk about what the walkover was if you don't know. But yeah, so that's it. So CP Show. I'm CP. We are going to listen. Football season just started. I'm a huge football fan. I'm a huge Georgia Bulldog college football fan. I enjoy the NFL. I gamble on the NFL. I like the daily fantasy stuff. But it's not a football show. It's definitely not a gambling show. Unless FanDuel or DraftKings wants to give me a bag, then it's a fucking gambling show. But we're going to talk about that stuff. We're going to talk about the Bulldogs. We're going to talk about the games. If there's something that stands out, we're going to talk about, the 10 o'clock Monday night game was a stinker. Good Lord, did it suck. Tonight, it's Thursday. I'm recording this on Thursday. Boy, did the Miami Dolphins suck. So this game's probably going to suck. But we'll see. We'll talk some politics. But this is not a political show. I lean a little right, but I'm a normal human being. And I'm fairly moderate. So I think that's important. Since the world's gone fucking crazy. But again, not a political show, right? We'll talk about some pop culture stuff, but I don't watch TV that much other than sports. And I like, it's not called live PD anymore, but when there's no sports on, I'll watch that. It streams on Peacock. But, some of the radio shows and podcasts I listen to, they're still radio shows. Sirius XM, the Bonfire. Shout out Bonfire. Big J and Bobby Kelly. They're on Dancing with the Stars. So they're watching it, they're asking their people to watch it, and they're talking about it. That makes for good radio. Sam Roberts is not my cup of tea. I gave Jim and Sam a try, a hard try. But just didn't like it. It was just them making fun of Jim being older. That was the show for 2 years. But Sam's crushing it. He's number 2 over there at XM now, I would think. The last remaining O&A guy, he was a smarmy little fucking intern. And now he's the morning show. That's an amazing journey and good for him. But I'm not going to watch the award shows just to talk about it on the podcast. That's fucking crazy. Okay? Because I could give a shit about the award shows, Dancing with the Stars, AYG. I'll watch America's Got Talent clips because they're fun on the phone, but I'm not watching that show. So it's not going to be a show about that. We're going to talk about my day. We're going to talk about my life. We're going to talk about the things that I did last week before the show got going. But it's not a show about me. I'm just trying to do a show. I'm trying to speak into this camera as good as Tim Dillon does. As good as Lycus did, as good as Rush did, as good as it is such a talent to be able to just talk by yourself and A, make it funny because there's no one to react to it, and B, be interesting because there's no one to react to it, and C, not be a douche. I've done a podcast before back in New Mexico with a guy named Mike Legend. We called it Double D and the Legend. I was doing a character named Deke Davis back then. And we got 100 downloads a week, 150. So it was something. Somebody was listening. Mike was pretty funny. He would edit these answers together for questions that he would write from like a celebrity's voice. And then I would ask some celebrity questions and they would answer horrifically. It was really funny. To us, it was really funny. No one, very few comments, very few. Again, you're doing this thing for fun. You should be doing it for fun. We were doing a lot of coke back then, so we were doing it to get together and do coke. Which I don't do anymore. I think that I'm going to do what everybody else does. I'm going to set a camera up with a cheap ring light. I'm going to talk into it, and I'm going to hope that people like me and don't hate my face and think what I say is funny and like my voice, the way it sounds in their earphones. That's it. Why have I not done it until today? That's easy, because if you do it and it fucking sucks and you fail, then you no longer have the fantasy of, oh, I could do that. But I've decided to do it. What the fuck? Let's do something. Instead of sitting on that couch that you can't see, watching that giant TV that you can't see, and drinking 37 of these that you can see. I just realized I like to take a piece of ice in when I have a sip and then crunch it, but that ain't gonna work. So I'm gonna have to change that habit, which is gonna be very difficult. So tell me how stupid I am. By the way, like and subscribe. Slam that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below that you think I'm a fucking retard or that my face is gross or that whatever. I'll take hate watches, by the way. I just want views. Kitchenandfloorstore.com. Are you ready for the best quality cabinets at the absolute lowest prices on the internet, shipped right to your driveway anywhere in the United States? Kitchenandfloorstore.com. What's that? Kitchenandfloorstore.com. We've got traditional, we've got transitional, we've got shaker style, we've got Euro style, all plywood, all full extension, all soft close. I got skinny shaker, I got fat shaker, I got shaker. We've got all the cabinets you could possibly want, all the styles, all the colors, shipped right to your driveway at the lowest prices online, kitchenandfloorstore.com. What's that? Luxury vinyl plank flooring? That's what you're looking for? I got you. It's kitchenandfloorstore.com. We've got all the vinyl planks, all the sizes, all the colors, all the styles, shipped right to your driveway. Kitchenandfloorstore.com. 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 So my journey, and then we'll touch some of the things that are going on, the Kimmel thing. My take on that is so simple that I'm scared it's not going to fill up more than 3 minutes. So we'll get to that stuff. But let me tell you how it went for me. So I can remember riding along. Well, first, let's go way back, and I'll skip over this quickly. But as a child, we would turn the TV down and turn up Larry Munson, who was the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs on the radio, and look and watch the game like that, because he was so great. And legendary calls. I mean, you could just Google his name. Hobnail boot, stepped on their faces like a hobnail boot and broke their nose. Sugar falling from the sky. Run, Lindsay, run. Hunker down one more time. I mean, he's got these great. I remember the Macarena was going on. This is his setup, because he had to set it up. It wasn't TV, it was radio. So he would say, left to right on your radio dial, there's 85, 90,000. It's a sold out game. He had a voice kind of like that. There was a bridge above the end zone in Sanford Stadium. It might still be there, but I know it's been revamped I don't think you can get on it anymore, but you used to could go up on that bridge and see the game without a ticket. Uh, 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 Hundreds or thousands on the bridge up there. The cheerleaders are doing that stupid dance again. That's what he said on the radio. The Macarena. As a young person, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is a guy painting a picture that I'm seeing on the TV," and that correlation was made early for me. That radio was something that I wanted to do. Now, quickly skip ahead when I got to college and realized that most radio jobs pay $19,000 a year, and you have to get a second fucking job if you want to be a DJ. I decided to go a different route, but that's when that's when I became a radiophile. So I would ride around with my father, and he would play AM radio, right? Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if it was Rush Limbaugh back then, but AM radio, which was just people talking. And then as I got 16 and had a license and got a car, we were into rap. This is the early 90s. I had two 15s in a box in the back of a Toyota 4Runner that rattled the window. Feel the bass, 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 bass. It was crazy. So it was rap music. Beastie Boys had come out. Oh my God, when the Beastie Boys came out, that airplane crashing the thing was a joint. We all knew it. Our parents didn't. Let's fucking go. Still a huge Beastie Boys fans to this day. Beastie Boys, heavy bass, shitty rap that was just based around bass, no pun intended. That was it for a while. I get through with, let's skip ahead another 10 years, right? I get through with college. I'm on my own. I am a business owner, more like self-employed back then, but wasn't working for anybody. And as I would ride around the truck, I migrated back to talk radio. It was AM 750. I grew up in Atlanta, outside of Atlanta. The morning show was, there was the helicopter guy. I can't think of his name. We all loved his voice. The talk radio inevitably leaned a little right. But the morning show was just news and weather on the weather, traffic news on the 10s, whatever bullshit. But it was Rush. It was Neil Bortz. Oh man, Neil Bortz was the greatest. He was fucking hilarious. He I don't even think he meant to be funny all the time, but man, was he funny. There was the guy, and I can't remember his name, but it was, excuse me, it was helping you save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. I can't think of his name, but he had a show. On the weekends, there was a lawyer guy. His catchphrase was telling you have no case or whatever. The whole shtick was they'd call in and he'd go, yeah, but you stink because you signed the lease and you didn't do the thing. So he would just tell you had no case. He was funny. The first time I understood funny on the radio, I know I'm jumping all around, but let's go back to high school. I went to a private high school, which was about 40 minutes from my home. So I had a 40-minute commute in the morning and a 40-minute commute home. Now, in the mornings, it was morning show, radio morning show, quack, quack, morning zoo. But the first one that really got us, meaning us, in the parking lot of school being like, yo, did you hear him fucking say the thing? It was the Grease Man. Do you guys remember the Grease Man? Hiddly diddly doo. Hiddly diddly doo. The Grease Man was the greatest. It was the perfect humor for 17-year-old kids. It was, here's what you do. You dress up like a fireman in New York City. And then once you get her back to the house, and you go, and he would play the mattress sound. And he goes, there's a siren going by every 5 minutes. The next siren that goes by, you go, that's my team. I got to go. Hiddly diddly doo. Oh, we would laugh and laugh. So, giant dip of Copenhagen in a Gatorade bottle, Grease Man on the radio, big Jeep, big tires, big engine, all the way 40 minutes every day to school. Okay, so self-employed, mid-20s, listening to AM talk radio. Then they started doing, the Pharrell came to Atlanta on an FM station, and it was like, if I remember, I guess it was a morning show, but it was all talk. There was no music. I mean, even Greaseman played songs. This was all Pharrell all day long. He didn't last very long. I think they turned that channel into Spanish speaking or whatever, which is how radio works. But then Pharrell, shot in the beer, puke. He was great. So I go, oh, this is interesting. Skip ahead a little more. I move out to New Mexico. There's an FM station that is all talk all day long. Absolutely no music. And on FM, you're like, what is going on? So it was Don and Mike in the morning. Don and Mike were great. Dennis Miller at 10. I don't remember who was and then it was O&A in the afternoon. Now, this is like 2006, 2007 when they were doing the walkover. So the walkover was, they were on, I think it was ABC radio, but they were on terrestrial radio. And then after 3 hours or whatever it was, they would walk over to XM and do their satellite show. And they would broadcast the walkover. There's the classic, the long time thing where Opie stepped on a guy's cake or whatever. He acts like that makes him a martyr. Who gives a shit? Somebody on Twitter. By the way, Opie's gone completely insane, if you haven't kept up. Anthony went on to start his own podcast network and a thing, and now he merged with somebody with Gavin, and he's doing okay. And now he's back on radio. He's doing WABC. Opie's gone completely insane. But that's another day. We'll talk about those things another day. So Don and Mike, man, I was like, what the fuck is this? And Mike could do these impressions, and they had all these bits, and Don was a big sound effect guy, and it just blew my mind. That shit could be this entertaining and funny on the radio. Now, when Don left and it became the Michael Mayer show, he's the douchiest human being on earth. Everybody had to leave the room one at a time, and Mike was the last one to leave the room and say goodbye, and then Don had to say goodbye. Oh, God, it's giving me douche chills right now. At the time, I got to be honest, I'm such a douche that at the time, I thought it was cool. But when you look back on these things, you're like, yikes. You should have just said, hey, it was great, man, but I'm out of here. But we weren't as cool as we are now in terms of, hey, I'm not a big deal. Everybody thought they were a fucking big deal. And you know what? They were a fucking big deal. So who am I to judge? But it was cringy. I'm judging. Don and Mike. Dennis Miller was fine. I mean, I knew him as a comedian. I knew him from the Dennis Miller Show on HBO. And he wasn't so fucking political back then. He was just starting his show and getting a little political. And so it was fine. He was still funny. But man, O&A. I feel like it was 3 o'clock they started. I didn't have XM back then. I didn't get in the satellite till it was serious. But XM, I didn't get in the satellite till it got serious out there. No, till it was Sirius XM. But I couldn't believe how funny. I mean, I'm not a P1, right? That's a listener that calls in, waits on hold. That's Snowy from Michigan or whatever. I'm not a P1 guy. So I've never called a radio show. But you can call a radio show. You can talk to your friends. You see, you're hanging out with these people every day for 3 hours. And you can actually call and talk to them. And you know everything about them because they're talking about their lives, especially on a slow news day. it's the most intimate medium I'd ever been a part of. I'd ever seen. I was like, this is so cool, right? I mean, there are lots of people. I'm so thankful that my company and my everyday life, that I have clients and people that work for me, and I'm also very thankful I have some friends and we do things. I just took a trip with my best friend to Daytona to see the race, and we stayed 4 days in a resort and went to the race, and it was amazing trip. I'm very blessed for that. But there's been times in my life where I was lonely and didn't have anybody to talk to for months at the time, and that's why podcasts are so popular right now. That's what I'm getting at, is that it's like you have these friends that you can hang out with for a couple of hours a week or whatever it is. And that's so important if you're lonely and sad. And, none of the guys like to hear it when they write in or call in and go, I was going through a bad time. My dad had died. I was really sad. You guys got me through this. And they just go, oh, thanks, man. That's great. Nobody knows how to react to that. But it's true. I know it's true. I've never thought that a podcast got me through a rough time, but I know that it feels nice to have a connection to people that have the same funny as you and the same, sensibility as you and like the same football team as you or whatever the fuck it is. It's having friends when you don't have friends. And I think that's why podcasts are so popular and will maybe stay being popular. It may be a medium that outlasts whatever comes next. Because it's that simple. It's as simple as I need interaction with people of similar sensibilities, or I need interaction with people with opposite sensibilities that I can fucking hate listen to. Some people need that. I've never been a big fan of that, but I get it. So that FM station changed my life. That O&A, I was like, this is hilarious. Again, I don't know specific bits, but we all know Ramon was hilarious. Jim was hilarious. I remember, Special Endeavor was really funny. That's an O&A classic. Patrice was always hilarious on the time where they made Bobo's dick get hard and soft was hilarious. I know that sounds crazy, but when you're listening to it, they weren't showing it. Even the video didn't show it. They were just talking. They would just talk to him. He's kind of a retarded guy. They would just talk to him about tits, and then he would get a boner in his pants. And then they would start talking about the Mets, and would go back down. I don't think there's anything funnier than that in the world. So, but there was one time, and I don't remember the context. I don't remember much of it. But I just remember the caller had a real hard on about something, but he had a stuffy nose. He was talking like this. And whatever point he was making, it was a stuffy nose. And all of America that was going, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have to blow your nose. And they just let him go and let him go and let him go. And it built up and it built up and it built up. And finally, Jim was like, you gotta blow your fucking nose. I had to pull over to walk. I can still see the Walmart parking lot. I know it was Montgomery and to laugh. I was snotting and crying and laughing. I could not drive my vehicle anymore. And I'm like, I want to do this, right? Like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Yeah. That was it. I was hooked. So when they went to Sirius, I got Sirius. I got the shark fin, or no, I don't remember what Sirius was, but I had the radio. I know the XM was the shark fin. I never did that. And then quickly it became an app, right? But in the beginning, with them on the radio, I started looking for other stuff. So Michael Mara didn't make it by himself. And then because of Oscar, he was able to have a podcast that made him have a living for the rest of his life. But I would go to my computer, and this was Mike O'Mara, Big O and Dukes, Adam Carolla Show, WTF. I feel like that was probably it. But you could go to their website, download the show onto your laptop, and then download that onto an MP3 player or I remember for a wedding gift I got, my ex-wife and I got iPod Touches. It was the first iPhone, but it wasn't a phone. It just had all the apps, but there was like 15. It was only like 15 or 20 apps. But you could plug that in because we had Macs, and the episodes would show up, and then I could play them. And I feel like back then it was still the cassette tape with the plug coming out of it. You guys remember that? Or there might have been a place to put a plug in by then in your radio. But that's how I listened to podcasts for a while. That was my first exposure to podcasts. I'm going to tell you that I heard Adam Carolla's first podcast, The Pirate Ship. And back then there was like an Amazon link where you would click through the show you liked. You click through that Amazon link to buy something. And I guess the show got 1% or something of the sale price. Yeah, man, the days, right? And then phones, it's funny because it all kind of bleeds together. I mean, the iPhone's easy. You got your iPhone, it connects to your radio or you plug it into your radio. And that's what you're doing in the car. And that's what most people are doing in their car nowadays, right? But it was, I remember a little thing about this big that was an FM radio, an AM radio. And I could take and clip that on my thing and put the earphones in or the earphones and listen to the Don and Mike, listen to those shows when I wasn't in my truck, or plug it into my computer. Remember, computers had the speakers and the bass speaker under the computer desk. Yeah, it all bleeds a little bit together because it was, I guess, because I had a T-Mobile. It was really kind of a black person's phone, but it was the one that flipped. It was like sideways like this, and it flipped open, and then you had a keypad on it. I can't remember the name of it. I had that for a while, and I feel like that didn't have a lot of songs on it and shit like that, or MP3s, but I could be just wrong. And then first iPhone. That's when everything kind of opened up, and that's when podcasts started. People didn't know what they were, and nobody knew how to fucking do it except Adam Carolla, Mark Maron, and Oscar Santana, frankly. Shout out Oscar Santana. Shout out that sip without a piece of ice crunching in the microphone. I know a guy with 2 thumbs who's learning. But once it became podcast, so let's skip up to the modern day. So what's your rotation? Put that down in the comments. Like and subscribe. Put that down in the comments. What's your podcast rotation, right? So I've got the Bonfire on SiriusXM. I have the SiriusXM app. And so I've always got that. I usually listen the next day. There are times I'm in the truck from 5 to whatever, and so I'll listen to it live. But most of the time, that's a next day thing. AYG, Are You Garbage? Hilarious. I like Mark Norman and Joe List, so I go Tuesdays with Stories. I also do Mark Norman's We Might Be Drunk with Sam Morrill. Karen Feehan's sort of making her way into my rotation, but like today, I didn't like that guy. He was boring, so I just moved on. Why am I spacing? I do this every day. It's crazy. Oh, Sword and Scale, true crime. Sword and Scale's great. I'm like the top tier Patreon guy there, Sword and Scale Plus or whatever. They make a TV show now. Finally, you can throw it up on your TV. So I like that. Those episodes are great. He's such a smart ass. I love him. We were going to Daytona, my friend and I, And I go, and he had worked for me for many years before he retired, and now we're just friends. And so I'd make him listen to my podcast and shit when he was working for me because he's riding with me, whatever. And Sword and Scale was one of them. And he's like, that's pretty good. There's very few where he was like, I like that. So I saved up a Sword and Scale for us to listen to on the way to Daytona. And I go, hey, I got a Sword and Scale for us. I go, I don't know if I don't know where he's at now, but he's been hammering the Karens for the shit they say in the comments or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, and we push play, and he comes out of the fucking box hammering Karens. It was just a perfect setup. But Sword and Scale. So where are we at? AYG, Mark Norman, and Joe List. Mark Norman, Sam Morrill. Sword and Scale, the Y-Files. That's more of a podcast on TV. I do watch podcasts on TV, but I don't, I don't have to. It's just two guys staring. It's just this. It's just a guy staring at a camera or two guys staring at a camera. But I'll watch AYG and Foley's fucking hilarious, weird tongue laugh. It makes me happy. But there's some that are, I like Stuff Island. I like Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, but those are audio only. There's nothing to see there. I'm talking about for me. Those are okay for me. I just watch audio only. But I like them. Tommy's hilarious. Chris is hilarious. I'll do a Joe Rogan. I like all the parks, the Save the Parks, whatever they're calling it now. Of course, Ari's disappeared into the jungle somewhere, but Protect Our Parks, I think that's it. Those are great. And then there'll be a guest along the way. I'll probably watch the Charlie Sheen one. I'll probably watch Dave Landau, because I remember when he was on Anthony's show. And I like him. But Joe, that's a lot. That's a lot of hours. 3 hours is a long time. So yeah, I sort of pick and choose guests for the ones of Joe that I watch, but respect him immensely. Legion of Skanks. So, Big J Okerson, I learned of him when Legion of Skanks was on Anthony's network when it was in his basement, and sort of followed him into the Bonfire with Dan. I watched Dan's show too, but again, probably picking guests with Dan's show. I love the ones where him and Katie were in the car. Those were really, really funny. And I like Dan a lot. I think he's probably top 5 comedian touring right now. So check out Dan Soder if you have not yet. Yeah. So I think it all sort of comes from O&A, right? Bobby Kimmel. Now Bill Burr went nuts to me. Again, I lean a little right, so Bill Burr went nuts. Full blown fucking left wing, hate everybody. You're a racist if you say, if you say some of the violence in New York City is perpetrated by black people, you're fucking racist. Yeah. But he was just doing what I'm trying to do. And he's obviously funny, but I don't know. Sometimes things can turn you off so much about someone that it's hard to take in their art. If Bono would just shut the fuck up, I could like U2 again. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Green Day has kind of fucking ruined it for me. You're so brave saying that fucking Trump stinks. Ugh. Play your songs, man. Anywho, yeah, so that's it. It all kind of comes from O&A, right? Jim's new podcast I love. Ian, finance can be a lot for me, a little too much gay and just a lot. But their episode today of Joe, when he was on Jim's podcast, I just listened to it today, was absolutely fucking hilarious. They did this Scottish thing for 20 minutes, and I couldn't breathe driving down the road. So funny. So, you never know. Jordan Jensen is a comedian you should look out for. She's great. I bring her up because she does a podcast with Ian, but somehow she sold it. I mean, she was and I don't mean somehow. She's very, very funny, and her special on Netflix was awesome. I would say top 10 of the last 2 years. Really, really funny. Really tight material. Really honed. Really funny. Really funny. But she was, a year and a half ago, she was fucking nobody. So good for her. She made the jump. She's on Netflix. She's doing the fucking thing, man. It's so strange in the business of show how it Rodney Dangerfield was 47 or something before he broke. He was driving into New York City. He was an aluminum siding salesman, I believe. He was driving into New York City and selling jokes at the passenger side of a car for $20 or whatever. And then we know him as Caddyshack and Back to School and hey, I tell you, Dr. Vinny Boombutts, and he was like 47. Amazing. I'm 49. Let's fucking get on some comments and like and subscribes. God damn it. You know what? I blew it because there's only a few minutes left here. So I'll just have to put the commercial in the middle. But this episode is brought to you by kitchenandfloorstore.com. So we'll edit a commercial in the middle somewhere. I guess, we'll take the last 10 minutes here or so and talk about what's going on in the world. So obviously Charlie Kirk got murdered, which I saw on television. I mean, let's talk about that. Snuff films, you could just go on Twitter and see a snuff film. You can see somebody get shot in the gut, the face, fall over, scream, cry, call the police. You see a guy get shot and his leg don't work no more. Just, it's fucking, how is that possible? They made a movie about a snuff film. I guess snuff films are pornography based with a murder in it or whatever. But you get the point that I'm making. It can't be healthy for human beings to fucking see people dying regularly on your iPad. So I go, what happened? I get home from the beach and then I'm just on the couch flipping through. Oh, what happened? Charlie Kirk got shot, and then there's just a video of his fucking neck exploding. It's obscene. It's obscene. Yeah, that's a fucking crazy thing. Yes, the violence is coming from the left a lot more than the right. Yes. You, instead of screaming, no, it's not, you should be looking at the very fringe parts of your side and saying, stop that shit, you fucking psychopath. There's a real problem in the trans community with violence and really just, it's just depression and hate for oneself. You thought that chopping your tits off was going to make you happy, and then when it didn't, it made you even more sad. I'm so sorry that you're going through that. I'm so sorry. But, I heard the best thing ever, the best explanation of it, the best way somebody explained it was someone who was regretting their decision. It was a male to female transition. They went through all the stuff, and then they finally went through the bottom surgery. And this person said, the whole identity surrounding my transition and me feeling like I was a woman was a sexually based thing. And now I don't even have that. because I don't have a dick anymore, so I can't jerk off. They pretended to make me a clit, but that's not a clit. So there's no sexual stimulation. And if you look at how that surgery works and the aftercare, and don't do that if you're squeamish, it is a wound. Your body wants your new puss to heal closed. You have to like keep things in it. It's not like a source of pleasure. And your depression is now worse because the thing that was going to fix you didn't fix you. You still feel fucked up. So that causes rage. And rage causes mass shootings and school shootings. And I hate you because I hate myself. And that is a goddamn shame. Wow. Way to bum out the end of the first episode. Holy fucking shit. Kimmel. Let's talk about Kimmel. Kimmel gets suspended indefinitely, which means they probably are firing him. And now they're screaming that the right is doing cancel culture. Hey, retards. ABC canceled him, and let me tell you why. Because the show sucked shit when he became political. The ratings are shit after he became political. The show cost millions to make and is bleeding money like an artery cut. It is hemorrhaging money like a sieve. And the people in charge of not letting their company go broke said, hey, this is a pretty good reason to cancel this shit fucking show with shit fucking ratings and move on to something else. Now, are they going to move on to late night? I doubt it. Late night seems to be dead. No one cares. No one cares. I mean, Gutfeld's ratings are good because A, he's funny, and B, because it's Fox News. It's every geriatric that has insomnia goes, well, I watch Gutfeld before I go to sleep, and I'll have another fucking Bud Light. I think late night television is dead. You go on Rogan and blow up and get more eyeballs than the Tonight Show. Fallon, give Fallon credit. He didn't go the political route. He went the let's play frisbee with a pizza route. He went door number one. What's behind door number one? What's that show called? He went cheese ball. But at least he was trying to make it his own show, and it's avoided this alienate half your audience bullshit that these other dumbasses did. Colbert wasn't silenced by Trump. This was another example of show costs too much money to make, bleeding money, hemorrhaging money, shitty ratings. We got to get rid of this. We got to get rid of the show. We're a business. The shows have to make money. We have to be able to sell advertising. The ratings were so fucking low that their advertising budget was cut in half. Or their advertising gross was cut in half. And this show, he's got 48 producers, 3,700 writers, 15,000 dancers. What are we doing? So all the retards on fucking X talking about this is cancel, now the right's doing cancel culture. Shut up. The shows were not making money. Television is a business. The shows weren't making money. They're canceling the show. This was an excuse to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. That's it. That's it. Did he say some dumb shit? All right. I mean, frankly, the joke where he said Trump was so upset and then he talked about they're building the new thing or whatever. I don't know if that was edited or not, but that was a pretty funny joke. I guess they're mad that he said the kid was MAGA or whatever. I don't even know, man. The point is, that's the point. I don't even know why they're mad. It doesn't matter. The company that was losing millions of dollars on this fucking show finally got an excuse to cancel the fucking show. So that's my take on Kimmel. So that's it. That's the show. CP show says it right there. And I'm CP. So I'll see you next week. I'm going to put this out. I'm going to try to put this out every Thursday. It seems to be the thing. I was going to do Tuesday and then Wednesday, but I pussed out on doing the show Tuesday and Wednesday, and today's Thursday, so I think it's going to be Thursday. So we're going to put it out every Thursday. I'm going to upload this as soon as I'm done. Add the intro and the commercial and stick it up on YouTube. So we'll see what happens. It might be next Thursday. So I know I talked about Miami and Buffalo and how bad Miami stinks, but just insert Thursday night game for next week here. And we might be a week later on the Kimmel thing, but who gives a shit? I'm really trying to figure this out. I'm really trying to do the least work possible. I have a business that I run in my daily life. I can't add hours and hours. It has to be something I can throw into iMovie, add a thing, throw it up, be done, right? Otherwise I'm just going to give up. I'll tell you this. I'm going to put it up on X. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm going to put it up on audio only. I'm going to put it up on whatever. Wherever I can post it, I will. I will not buy views, subscriptions, clicks, links. I will not do that. I will buy advertising on X to try to get it in front of some people's faces. I will do that. I think that's fair, but I won't buy fake views or rings. So if it's got 6, then it's got 6. I've also promised myself this. I'm not going to watch them back unless I have to edit something. I'll find that area and mark it that I need to go find that area. And I'm not going to check it obsessively. These are the things that I do. I'm an obsessive person. I'm just going to do this for fun and see if it catches on. So thanks for watching. CP Show. See you next week. Peace.